Alright guys, it is Saturday night again, and I am so excited because this is the first official episode of Saturday Night Snack and a Movie on this channel here, which is now the official Saturday Night Snack and a Movie YouTube channel. So make sure that you subscribe and come back here every Saturday night for new episodes. Every Saturday we pick an awesome movie, we make an awesome snack, I tell you what you need and how to make that snack, and then we kick back with our own families and our own homes and have our own movie night. Basically because copyrights won't allow me to just show you the movie right here on my channel. But guys, tonight I am so excited to tell you that we are watching a Universal Monsters classic, and that is this one right back here, Frankenstein. This is the Frankenstein from the 1930s, starring Boris Karloff as Frankenstein's monster. If you watch my main channel, That Nate Guy on YouTube, you know that right now I am doing some virtual walking challenges that make me get out every single day and walk on either the treadmill or at the park or even the cemetery. That's right, guys. This week I went to the cemetery because we have a local graveyard that has a giant headstone that says Frankenstein on it. If you want to see that complete segment, you can see it over on That Nate Guy on YouTube channel. But for right now, let's give you a quick rundown of what this movie is about. I think we all know the basic story of Frankenstein. It was originally written in 1818, so there have been a lot of different versions and adaptations of the Frankenstein story. In this version, Dr. Frankenstein is obsessed with building his own human. So with the help of his assistant, they run around and they dig up some fresh graves. They find some fresh bodies of people who have just been hanged for whatever crimes, I don't know, they don't go into that. And then they need a brain. So Dr. Frankenstein sends his assistant to the local medical college. There are two brains. One of them belongs to a criminal and one of them belongs to a perfectly healthy human. The assistant is explicitly instructed to get the healthy brain. He picks it up, he drops it and destroys it, so he turns around, grabs the criminal's brain, and that is the brain that ends up getting put in this Frankenstein's monster. They build the monster, they lift it high above into the storm, the lightning strikes. It's alive! Now from here the story is that Frankenstein's monster basically starts running around murdering everybody. All he can do is moan and groan, so he can't say, hey, I'm just a dude. And these crazy humans are running around with these big torches. The monster's getting scared, so he's starting to go nuts, which causes the humans to go nuts, and they're waving the torches all around, making him even more scared, so he basically starts killing them. They try to subdue him so they can do some tests on him, but he escapes, and he meets this little girl along the path who shows him how to take these flowers, throw them into the water, and they will float like a boat. She gives him some, he throws them in the water, and they float like a boat. They're having a good old time. But as soon as he runs out of flowers, he's like, what's going on here? Picks her up and he throws her into the water. Why? I don't know. He's a monster that's been pieced together with a lot of other people's body parts, including a criminal's brain. So he takes off. The father finds the girl drowned in the water and says somebody murdered her. This gets the whole town riled up. They go out with their torches and pitchforks. They track down the monster. He runs into a windmill to hide. They surround the windmill, block him off in there, and they burn it to the ground. He's no longer able to kill anybody. He's dead himself, and that is the basic story of Frankenstein. So that brings us to tonight's snack. And what would be more appropriate than franken-stuff? If you guys remember, in the 1980s, Hormel came up with some hot dogs called franken-stuff. They were hot dogs that had a whole board down the middle that was filled with chili. They were delicious, guys. So come with me to the store. We're going to get everything we need, and we are going to make our very own franken-stuff to have as our snack while we watch Frankenstein. Oh yeah, this is a dark, dreary, spooky day. This is already getting me in the mood to watch Frankenstein. We are at Walmart, and right now they are getting ready for Easter and St. Patrick's Day. So right now is the time to get anything that you could want that is green, especially before it leaves, or any kind of like plastic eggs or anything like that that you might need for future Saturday night snack and a movie crafts and snacks. What the heck, a gummy astronaut? And I believe we used Peeps last year to make aliens for the Jimmy Neutron movie night. Anyway, let's roll on over to the groceries because we need to find what we need for tonight's snack. And the first thing we need to find, which I believe is in aisle A16, is jumbo smoothie straws. Look how funny is this? Somebody dropped some squishy monsters here in the aisle, and this one is Frankenstein's monster. Ooh, that is squishy. Okay, they weren't there, but they do have these silicone straws in the baby section, but they're too soft. We gotta be able to push these things through a hot dog. I know that sounds weird. You'll understand in a minute. Check this out, guys. I always say check the clearance section. Or organic ketchup for kids. This is little tubes of ketchup that you can use to draw on your food. And believe it or not, there are times when you're making up snacks for movie night that you might be like, if only I had some ketchup that I could draw on this with. Okay, here's 4 more different kinds of straws, but we need big smoothie straws. These would be perfect, but they're so thin. I'm gonna spend half a day looking for a straw. Whoa, wait. Okay, here's clear straws. Still not what we need, though. I swear you gotta check every nook and cranny. I found 2 different kinds, but they're still not as big as I want. There's another kind up here, and that's small. I'm gonna toss these in the cart in case I don't find anything. Even more straws over here in the craft and party section. Still not what we need. Wouldn't you think they'd put them all in the same place? And yes, I've used the app, which is why it keeps sending me to every nook and cranny in the store. Color changing reusable straws, which are still not as big as I need them to be. Whoa, here's some giant plastic rods. Now, if these were about half the size, that would be perfect. Unless I had gigantic hot dogs. Just in case. I do need one of these decorator bags, but it's $4.77, and right below it for $4.28 is a decorator pen. I think this would work, plus that's reusable. Go to your home. Whoa, 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 wait a minute. Squeeze bottle for $1.14. Bargain hunting. You're going back. No, no. No, I mean, why would they have straws in this section? Okay, so this would be about the perfect size right here, but I am not paying $13 just to put a hole in a hot dog. Check this out. Corn dudes. This should be the show right here, the Great American Straw Hunt. Stainless steel straws and bag set. Too small. Come on, what the heck? All right, here's another option. This is on clearance for $4. I don't have any use for this giant mug, but that straw is perfect. All right, there's another contender. All right, I just found these sitting on the shelf. They're perfect size, but they've been open and they're soft, flexible. So there's no way that this would work. I am so bummed out right now. Look at the size of those things. All right, unless I accidentally come across those other jumbo straws that I was looking for originally, I think we're gonna stick with this right here because that's the biggest straw right there. We need a big diameter. These white ones are just way too big, and these are really just too small. Let's get on with this. Sometimes you gotta suffer for Saturday night snack and a movie. All right, now we need some jumbo hot dogs. Oh, look at this. These are the closest thing to what we're trying to make tonight. Stuffed dogs. These are stuffed with cheese, though. And here's some chili cheese smoked sausage if you just wanted to make it easy. Whoa, look at the size of these monsters. These are hot beef Polish sausage, though. We just want regular hot dog. What the heck, man? Why are these wieners all so skinny? We don't want no skinny wieners. All right, here's ballpark. Man, I remember when ballparks were enormous. Hebrew National Jumbo Beef Franks. I mean, those are better. Those might work. Sugardale Jumbo hot dogs. Those are not jumbo. Come on. All right, we're gonna go with some regular ballpark beef franks too. They're not huge, but they'll work. All right, we're gonna get a little 8-ounce block of Colby Jack. That's only $2. Now we either need to get some Pillsbury Crescent rolls, and here's some big ones right here. Or I think what I want to do is the corn dog wraps. We've used these before for snacks, and they are absolutely delicious. Okay, and the last thing we need is chili. There are lots of brands and styles here. We need something like a chili dog sauce. This is only 78 cents right here. I kind of want to stick with the Hormel because I know it's delicious, so here's some with no beans. But in thinking about injecting it into a hot dog, we need something we know can actually go through that little injector thing that we got. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some castleberries just in case. Okay, we're home. We're gonna do a quick recap of the things that we just picked up at Walmart. As you know, we got the gigantic mug here with the big straw. Now I'll have to pull that straw out of there, but what you want is a straw that is big enough that you're going to be able to put it through each of these hot dogs and basically like bore out the whole middle of it so that we can fill it up with chili. With that in mind, we also got some hot dogs. We got the Hebrew National Jumbo Beef Franks. There's only 4 in that package, and that was $5. This one was $5 too, but there's actually 8 in this package. And if we compare the size of these, you can see that these are definitely bigger than these, but these will still work even with the big straw. I will say I looked at all the other hot dogs there, and these were probably the biggest ones, but you're probably not going to be able to get away with getting like bar S for $1.20. I mean, you can try it if you want to, though. We also got the Colby Jack cheese. You're going to see what we're going to do with that. We also got the Hormel chili with no beans. We got the Castleberries hot dog chili sauce original. This one's a little bit thinner than this one, just in case we have trouble injecting this stuff into the hot dogs. And to do that, we're going to use this right here, which as you saw in the store was like, I don't know, $1.50, something like that. Little red cap comes off there, and I figured for $1.50 we could get this, and if we need to cut off some of this tip to make it bigger, to allow this stuff to flow through there easier, then it's not like we paid $5 or even $10 for this thing. And the last thing we got was the corn dog wraps. Now, if you don't have these in your store, you can always get crescent rolls. These are Pillsbury. I just figured these would be easier because these are actually pre-cut in rectangles, where crescent rolls are cut like a triangle. So it's going to be much easier to use those corn dog wraps than it will the crescent rolls. You'd actually have to use 2 of these to make a rectangle in order to wrap it around the dog correctly. You can definitely do that though if you prefer, because either way it's going to be delicious. Now I'm going to stick these in the fridge until we're ready for them, because whenever you're working with something like this or even the crescent rolls, if they sit out and they get warm, they get really sticky and hard to work with. So we'll stick those right in the fridge, keep them cool until we're ready for them. The Colby Jack I just took out of the fridge. I'm going to go ahead and leave it out. You want that to be firm when we push it through the dogs. Boy, does that sound weird. But it's not going to get warm enough over the period of time that we're preparing the dogs anyway. So we're going to go ahead and leave that out. First thing we need to do is just simply get our dogs out of the package. I got 4 of the ballpark Franks out. We're going to use all 4 of the Hebrew Franks. Man, these things are big. Next, we need to get our straw out of this thing. Okay, here we go. I'm going to wash that real quick. Now, this is the part that should be really interesting. We need to take this straw here and bore it through the hot dog so that it creates a hole all the way from one end to the other end. So, let's just see. I'm going to kind of twist it as I work it through there. Oh my gosh. I mean, it's actually working. It's going through there. Be interesting if we pull this whole thing off. Okay. All right, it's through the dog, and you can see how it bored out the meat from inside of the dog. Oh, crap. Okay, so there we go. We got a hole through that dog right there. Now, how we get the meat out of the straw to do another one. Oh, there it goes. I didn't think it was going to come out for a minute. Crap. All right, here we go. I just so happen to have another straw that is small enough to fit right inside this one. So, all right, we push it through, and there's the meat. Come on now. All right, we got it. Now we're ready for another one. So that is the meat that we just bored out from inside of this hot dog, which will soon be filled with chili and or cheese. There we go. We had to get the rest out from the other end. Now you got a completely hollow dog there, one end to the other. We're going to do that to all the rest of these, but I'm not going to make you watch me do it because that was pretty weird. Okay, yes I am, because it takes a little bit of skill here, and I'm learning as I go. So here's the way you have to do this. You take the hot dog, you stick the big straw in this end. You have to kind of twist it as you work it through and hold that hot dog really still there, because you want to make sure that it doesn't like come out in the middle of the hot dog. You want to make sure it goes all the way through to the other end. Now, once it gets to the other end, you push it through. You can see it's all the way through. You can see this straw is full of the hot dog meat, and you can't just pull it out. So, while that is in there, you take the smaller straw. So now there's something else you got to add to your shopping list, a smaller straw. Put it in there and push, and there it pushes out the meat that's in the other straw. But you still have to be very, very careful and kind of wiggle it to get the rest of that meat out. Oh my gosh, we're making night crawlers right there. Okay, I'm keeping that in mind for another Saturday night snack in a movie when we do how to eat fried worms. So anyway, now that you have 2 straws through the wiener, you grab it. It's so slippery. Ugh. Okay, first one's coming out. There's the first one. And then either way, you pull the other one out. And there you have an empty straw and a hole all the way through the wiener. Okay, and look at that. We got that one out all in one piece. It does. It looks like a giant night crawler. Oh my gosh. I don't know if it's gross or awesome. Okay, you have to be much more careful with the smaller hot dogs because there's a lot less room to work with it there. And this thing wanted to bust out through the sidewalls. All right, mission accomplished with one of those. We got 5 done so far. And I'll tell you what, guys, it does not work like you think you're just going to go, oh, I'll just blow it out. You can't. There's no way you could blow the nightcrawler out of that straw. How the heck do we get it out of the smaller straw now? All right, there's our plate of dogs. They all have holes all the way through them, and they are ready to be stuffed with chili and cheese. Well, one or the other. You can't fit both of them in there. So the next thing we need to do is prepare our cheese. We're going to cut this in small strips, just big enough to fit through the dogs. I don't think this should be too difficult. Of course, whenever you say that is when it actually gets difficult. Three, 4. Now, in theory, it should be pretty easy, which means it's not going to be easy to put this cheese through this wiener. We got a hole all the way through. We're going to use the smaller ones because I need to keep the bigger ones for the chili. So, I don't know about this, man. Put the cheese right there. I bet if we stuck these in the fridge for a little bit, let's just do that. Let's just save ourselves the misery. We're going to put our cheese strips in the fridge, in fact, the freezer, so they'll get as stiff as we need them to, so that we can get them to push through the wiener. All right, now, for the other part that should be easy and won't be, we need to get some chili dog sauce. I think we're just going to go ahead and use the Castleberries, because I know it's a lot thinner. We need to get it in here, and then we need to inject that chili into the hot dog. Where do I come up with this crap? So what I'm going to do, since I don't have any kind of a funnel, the opening on this is only so big to put the chili in. So I'm going to pour the chili in this bag, then I'm going to snip the corner, and then in theory, I should be able to just stick it in there and squeeze it in, and it'll fill this up with chili. Yeah, you see how that's almost just like a thin chili sauce rather than actual chili? The Hormel has chunks of beef in it, so I know we would have a problem trying to get it to go through this little nozzle. That actually worked a lot better than I thought it would. Put the nozzle on. And it's time to inject the wieners. Oh my gosh. All right, so that goes right in there. And in theory, I'm gonna hold one finger over the bottom here. No, we actually are gonna have to cut that nozzle a little bit. All right, yeah, I cut off just the tip. Gives us a much bigger thing to work with there. Let's go back to this. Oh, it's definitely coming out. Oh. I don't know how much is getting in there, but it's getting in there. I don't know if I should just squeeze until I see it coming out the other end. And there it is. Okay, well that worked. Filled up the first one with chili. So you can't put your finger over there because that blocks off the air and it won't let it fill it. I'm learning too. Stick it in one end, hold it kind of tight on there. Ooh. Oh. Oh my gosh. It just shot all over my camera. This may just be the most entertaining snack I've ever made. All right, with a little practice, you figure out how to do it. We've got chili infused in each of those dogs. Now we got to go back to the cheese and see if we can get that pushed through these dogs. All right, our cheese strips, I cut a couple extra that were even thicker than the other ones. They've been in the freezer for about 20 minutes. So let's go ahead and see if we can pull this off. I think the cheese is a little bit bigger in the actual hole that goes through this hot dog, but I think we can pull this off. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. We got it in halfway. So I'm going to break it off, and we're going to go in the other end and meet it in the middle. Wow, that's tough. Maybe I should have used like nacho cheese or something that I could also just inject in here. Yeah, because you have to just basically smash it into the dog. That's not even working. We got this much left of one stick. So I guess we got most of it in there. Okay, those are done. We got cheese, well, at least packed in as far as we can. I don't think any of it goes completely all the way through the middle. In fact, I can feel it's soft in there. But we did the best we can. My advice, if you're going to put cheese in these, you could even get like that Cheese Whiz, the stuff that's in the spray can, stick that in there and spray it straight through. That would probably be the easiest way to put cheese in these, because otherwise you're going to have to freeze those long strips of cheese so that they're rock solid, so you'll actually be able to push them all the way through the hot dog. In fact, this one here started tearing when I was pushing it through. But anyway, they're prepared. Now we have to wrap them up. We can't boil them like this because the chili will come straight out, and so will the cheese. So we have to wrap them up with those corn dog wraps. Okay, we got to preheat the oven to 375. We're going to need a cookie sheet and parchment paper. Okay, it says there's 8 of these in here, but you see how small these are. And we have to completely wrap our hot dogs up in them. So I'm glad I got 2 rolls because we're going to have to use 2 for each hot dog. Oh my gosh, what an ordeal. We got them all done, all wrapped up and ready to go in the oven. And that should be ready in about another 3 minutes. Bake for 17 to 21 minutes or until golden brown. Now we might have to leave these in a little bit longer since they're wrapped around hot dogs, but you know, we'll kind of just keep an eye on them. Okay, that's 20 minutes for you. Let's take a look. Oh yeah, those look like they are done. This one over here is sizzling. I can tell that one has cheese in it. Yeah, look at those. That's the one I said I could see the cheese eking out. But it looks like it contained everything else from all the rest of them. They feel like they are done. Now I'm going to give these a few minutes to cool down here because one of the problems, probably the biggest problem with the original Hormel FRANKENSTUFF, is that once you cook them, The stuff inside, the chili, was so boiling hot that when you'd take a bite, it would shoot the chili back in your throat and sear your entire esophagus. I know, because it happened to me. Alright guys, there they are. They've cooled off a little bit. I cut some of them in half. You can see how some of the chili is eking right out. I thought this one was cheese when I cut it in half, but a little bit of chili came out. So, at least we were successful with the way that we made them. The chili and the cheese was contained inside the corn wrap. So now I want to do a little taste test here. So this one I know is chili. Wow. It's not a lot of chili. I mean, you can see how the hole is just tiny in there, but there's enough chili in there where you can taste it, and it is delicious, especially when you tie it together with this cornbread wrap. Oh, that is good. And then this one is cheese. Although you can't see it in there, it kind of looks like it melted and got around the inside of that wrap. That's really good. Guys, with all the trouble I went through to make these things, they are absolutely delicious. Now, when you make them, it's going to be a lot easier because you're not trying to film the process at the same time. But man, these are delicious. I would definitely make them again. And this comes right after I just told somebody never to let me stuff a wiener again. All right, guys, well, I'm going to go downstairs, take Frankenstein and my stuffed chili wieners. What the heck are these things even called? My franken-stuffs. And have a movie night. I will see you guys next week.